Chapter 17. Culture. Institutional design can provide stability, but the long-term success of a community ultimately depends on the character and habits of the people who live within it. Governance structures can prevent the concentration of power, create transparency, and coordinate shared responsibilities, but they cannot replace the deeper cultural attitudes that allow cooperative societies to thrive. Stewardship communities therefore place significant emphasis on cultivating a shared culture alongside the institutional structures described in the previous chapters. Members are not expected to simply follow rules. They are encouraged to develop the personal qualities that make cooperative life both sustainable and fulfilling. These qualities include responsibility for shared resources, respect for the dignity of others, willingness to resolve conflict constructively, and an understanding that individual well-being is inseparable from the health of the wider community. This cultural foundation is not imposed through rigid ideology or enforced conformity. Instead, it emerges gradually through education, daily practices, and the lived experience of intergenerational cooperation. Children grow up observing adults who contribute to shared work, resolve disagreements through mediation, and take responsibility for maintaining the environments they inhabit. Over time, these practices become normal expectations rather than exceptional behavior. The goal is to create a society where stewardship becomes a natural orientation rather than an externally enforced obligation. When individuals understand that the well-being of the community ultimately protects their own well-being, cooperation ceases to feel like sacrifice and begins to feel like common sense. For this reason, stewardship villages intentionally cultivate several cultural norms that support the stability of the community and reinforce the governance systems already described. Membership in a stewardship community carries the expectation that each person contributes according to their ability. Contribution is not measured solely in financial output, but includes caregiving, education, mentorship, maintenance work, and cultural leadership. Every member participates in sustaining the shared life of the community. Each age cohort holds a distinct role in the life of the village and network. Younger members contribute energy, creativity, and adaptation to new conditions, while older members offer long-term perspective and lived experience. The village culture encourages mutual respect between generations so that innovation and wisdom remain in balance. Disagreements are treated as normal aspects of human life rather than threats to the stability of the community. Members are encouraged to address conflicts directly through dialogue and mediation before tensions escalate into larger disputes. Because stewardship villages intentionally manage land, infrastructure, and natural resources collectively, members are encouraged to cultivate an attitude of gratitude and responsibility toward the environment that sustains them. Shared spaces are treated with care because they are understood as common inheritances rather than disposable property. Regular cultural gatherings, shared meals, festivals, seasonal celebrations, and village-wide events play an important role in strengthening social bonds. These gatherings remind members that the purpose of cooperative living is not merely efficiency or survival, but the creation of a meaningful and joyful human life. Every lasting culture develops traditions that help its members remember who they are and what they value. These shared practices mark the passage of time, celebrate important milestones, and reinforce the bonds that connect individuals to one another and to the larger community. Stewardship villages intentionally cultivate traditions that strengthen the culture of stewardship. These rituals are not rigid obligations, but opportunities for members of the community to gather, reflect, celebrate, and renew their shared commitment to cooperative living. Over time, these gatherings become part of the rhythm of village life, helping individuals feel rooted in a community that extends across generations. Some traditions mark the natural seasons, recognizing the relationship between the community and the land that sustains it. Seasonal festivals may celebrate planting, harvest, or other important transitions in the agricultural cycle. These gatherings provide an opportunity for shared meals, music, storytelling, and expressions of gratitude for the resources that support the village. Other rituals mark life milestones. Births, coming-of-age ceremonies, partnerships, elder recognition, and memorial gatherings allow the community to honor important transitions in the lives of its members. These ceremonies remind individuals that their personal journeys are intertwined with the life of the community as a whole. Stewardship villages also maintain regular community gatherings that strengthen social connection. Shared meals, village assemblies, educational festivals, and cultural celebrations allow households to interact beyond their daily responsibilities. These gatherings reinforce the sense that the village is not simply a collection of households, but a living social organism. Because stewardship villages include multiple generations living together, traditions often emphasize intergenerational participation. Elders share stories and wisdom, adults coordinate the practical aspects of celebration, and younger members contribute creativity, music, and performance. In this way, rituals become opportunities for learning, mentorship, and the strengthening of community bonds. These traditions are not designed to impose a single religious or ideological framework. Instead, they provide space for gratitude, reflection, and shared celebration that can be embraced by people of diverse beliefs. The goal is not uniformity of thought, but unity of community. Over time, these rituals help cultivate a shared identity rooted in stewardship, gratitude, and cooperation. While governance structures provide stability, it is often these simple, repeated acts of gathering and celebration that give the community its deepest sense of meaning. Just as natural ecosystems depend on balanced relationships between soil, water, sunlight, and living organisms, healthy human communities depend on a moral ecology that encourages cooperative behavior while discouraging destructive patterns. In stewardship villages, this moral ecology is not created through heavy regulation or constant oversight. Instead, it emerges through cultural expectations, shared responsibilities, and social structures that naturally reward constructive participation in community life. When individuals live in close proximity to one another and share responsibility for maintaining common resources, their actions become visible within the fabric of daily life. Contributions are recognized and appreciated, while patterns of neglect or exploitation become difficult to hide. In this environment, social accountability functions quietly but effectively, encouraging individuals to consider how their actions affect the well-being of others. Stewardship villages therefore rely less on formal enforcement and more on relational accountability. Members understand that their reputation, relationships, and opportunities within the community are shaped by how consistently they contribute to the shared life of the village. Because participation in governance, household stewardship, and community work rotates among the population, most members gain direct experience with the responsibilities required to sustain the community. This shared experience fosters empathy and discourages unrealistic expectations of others. The presence of multiple generations living together further strengthens the moral ecology of the village. Younger members grow up observing adults who take responsibility for shared work, resolve disagreements through mediation, and treat community resources with care. Elders provide historical memory and moral perspective, reminding the community of lessons learned over time. Importantly, this moral ecology is designed to support both individual freedom and collective responsibility. Members are not expected to conform to identical beliefs or lifestyles. Instead, the culture emphasizes a small number of widely shared principles: respect for human dignity, responsibility towards shared resources, willingness to contribute according to one's abilities, and openness to dialogue when disagreements arise. When these principles become normalized through daily practice, governance structures remain light because much of the work of maintaining social order occurs informally through relationships, mutual respect, and cultural expectation. Over time, stewardship becomes less a set of rules and more a shared understanding of how responsible adults treat one another and the world they inhabit together. In this way, the moral ecology of the village quietly sustains the institutions that support it. Structures provide stability, but culture provides the living energy that allows those structures to function with resilience and grace.